Today is honey extraction day and we have waited a whole year for this, so we're very excited. We put on clearer boards 2 days ago and that should clear the supers for the bees and allow us to take them inside without too much hassle. We have made sure that there's plenty of room for them once we've removed them, and we're hoping that in a couple more weeks we may have some more supers to clear as well. So here we go. First thing, I'm going to take the roof off. Check for bees. There are a couple of bees still in here. Now these supers can be quite heavy and usually it takes 2 people to remove them, but Pete's done his back in. Here goes. Beautifully capped frame. I'm in awe of how the bees craft this so perfectly. The clearer board sits below the supers we're taking off. This allows the bees to go down from the supers but not to come back up into them. It's heavy! That was fun.
So now the skivvy has brought in the supers, it's time to get on with the extraction. It's really warm in here, something like 28 degrees, and that'll help the honey flow and we'll get more out that way. We've got a radial extractor that will take up to 8 frames. It's manual, which means cranking this handle, and as we do so, the honey is forced out onto the side of the container and we'll collect it down below. The bees put a thin wax capping on top of the cells. They do this when the moisture level of the honey reaches the right level. Once it's capped, honey will keep indefinitely. There's been cases of people finding honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that's still perfectly edible today. It's a very pure wax, so we're going to keep this and we'll use it for our beeswax wraps. We can remove the wax cappings using an uncapping fork. Once we've got all 8 frames in, we can put the lid on and start cranking. Once the level of the honey reaches the bottom of the frames, we need to empty it. We're straining our honey through 2 sieves to remove the bits of wax and chunks of pollen. But otherwise there's no further processing, it's straight from the hive into the jar. After spinning, the frames are much lighter and all the honey has been spun out, but the honeycomb itself is left intact. And these will go back onto the hive, and then the bees will clear up all of that honey so nothing is wasted.
The extracted frames are returned back to the hive and all the residual honey will be cleaned up by the bees. All the wax cappings which are covered in honey are collected and placed on top of the hive. In no time at all, the bees have completely cleaned up the wax cappings and they are left completely dry, like paper. It's just amazing to see. Back at the ranch, the honey has had time to settle, and all that's left to do is now to jar it up. And there you have it, raw natural honey, full of pollens, vitamins, enzymes, straight from the hive to the jar.